The Sonic generations still hold up in 2024. I'm referring to the original like portion, class to the Sonic portion of the game, because there's been recently the Shadow re-release that includes both the Sonic campaign, which released back then in 2011, but also the Shadow portion, which is new. But from what I've seen and heard, the Sonic portion is still pretty much the same, other than some minor changes to the graphics, I think, to the cutscenes, and they added, I think, a few abilities that are new, mostly the drop dash. But other than that, the game is still pretty much the Sonic portion is still pretty much the same. So does it hold up in 2024? The problems I have mostly with Sonic generations have always been the same. I hadn't played this game in a long time, but now that I've replayed it after at least 10 years, probably more, I have to say that the game overall is still pretty enjoyable. The problems I have with it are mostly the way the game feels to control. The game feels very unresponsive. That's the main problem I have with the game. Sometimes, like when you press button, it seems like the game is not getting your inputs. The controls are sometimes feel very unresponsive. And also in terms of control, when you're controlling your character, it just doesn't feel good to control. Modern Sonic, because it feels very stiff when you platform. And when you run, it just feels like us to control. It's very imprecise, both when you like run normally or boost. In fact, they had to add they had to give you like the chance to shift slightly with the bumpers, because otherwise it would be impossible to move precisely while you run with these controls. They're very imprecise. Which I think this is an issue they have fixed with the shadow portion. I think I haven't played it yet. I'm not sure if I'm gonna buy it, because I'm gonna buy it just for the shadow campaign if I do. So, but yeah, and yeah, it just feels very stiff. Like modern Sonic feels very stiff. Like, it feels like you're controlling a car. Honestly, that's one of the things I dislike the most about this game with modern Sonic, is that it feels like a racing game. The levels have a lot of narrow hallways when you just run through them by pressing boost, and that's it. Feels like a racing game sometimes. So the controls are not that good. The feeling of controlling a race car is just not what I want from Sonic. But I mean, modern Sonic is still pretty fun because the sense of speed is rendered pretty well. So overall, it is still fun. With modern, no, with classic Sonic. Sorry, the problems I have instead are still pretty much the same. Like classic Sonic feels pretty stiff and unresponsive. With the addition that when this game came out, we hadn't seen a proper classic Sonic game in a long time. So when this came out, it was okay enough. But now that we have Superstars and the Origins collections, this feels like not as fun as it used to be, because it doesn't have the classic physics. It feels very different from the classic physics and the classic games. It is still fun enough that it's enjoyable to play, but you can tell it's not the good classic Sonic. When it comes to like classic Sonic controls, it still feels pretty stiff. I don't like how classic Sonic jump feels very short. Like a lot of the time, you won't be able to get to the higher path just with your regular jump, and you will have to use the enemies to propel yourself, and that I don't like. In fact, I would say that classic Sonic doesn't feel as fun to play as when you have the electric shield, which gives you the double jump. When you have that, the classic Sonic is definitely more fun to play. So, general responsiveness, control problems, and stiffness. These I would say are my main gripes with this game, and I will always been like this back in the day and in 2024. Other than that, the levels are for the most part good. I would say the level design is decent. The art style of the and the graphics still hold up pretty well. The game is very colorful. I like the art style, in which they recreated the classic zones, the old zones, pretty much. The only level in terms of level design I don't really like is Planet Wisp. But to be honest, I never liked Sonic Colors. I always found it a pretty boring game. Maybe it's that, but I just don't like Planet Wisp in this game. But all the other levels are okay. Same with the bosses. I like almost all of them except the last two. So Egg Dragoon and of course Time Eater, which is one of the worst final bosses ever. Yeah, it's fucking horrible. No denying about it. I mean, it's probably the worst part of this game. So the game, I will say, is still pretty good. It is like heaven for a Sonic fan because it has a lot of nostalgia. You can select your perfect favorite track for each level or each trial, as long as you have unlocked it. So it's in that sense the customization is pretty nice because you'll get bored of listening to the same fucking track over and over. There's some trials in between zones to unlock the boss for each area. If you wanna do them, because it also pads the game a little bit. But honestly, it's mostly just the same thing. Some of them are fun, but some of them are not. So it's hit and miss in that sense. But at least they are not mandatory. They are a nice way to pad out the game. Because otherwise it would be pretty short without those. I just wish they would have improved the Sonic portion in the Shadow re-release because like I said, from what I understand, it's pretty much the same. They haven't improved on the controls in any way, which sucks, honestly. Because if I had actually improved the game, the Sonic portion, I would have bought it in a heartbeat because you get the Shadow campaign and an improved Sonic campaign. But no, sadly, no. Sadly, it's not the case. So I'm still evaluating whether I should buy the re-release because I'm pretty much gonna buy it just for Shadow. And I don't know if I want to replace the Sonic portion of the game after I played it now again. But I say the game is still pretty good, just not as good because it has aged and it wasn't perfect even back then. And they didn't even bother to fix the issues it had when they re-release it now, which is a missed opportunity. They didn't even add any new levels, sadly. Would have been nice, but like I always thought it was a very fucking missed chance that they didn't add any DLC levels to this game. The game was begging for that, but they never did it. Would have loved to have like, for example, Ice Cap as a DLC or Lava Reef. I don't know, whatever else level, but they didn't. They never did. So what else to say? The game is still good, regardless of whether you are a Sonic fan or not. Of course, it's better if you are, but it's still pretty enjoyable even if you aren't, as long as you like platformers. So I'm eager to try the Shadow campaign because I've heard it controls better, but I don't know when I'll do it, or now or maybe in the future when it drops even more in price. We'll see. But for now, this is it. So let me know your thoughts about the Sonic Generations Sonic part, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye bye, guys.